When Tom Holland first donned the red and blue suit back in 2016, the world saw him as the cheeky, endearing British lad who brought youthful charm to Peter Parker. But in the making of Spider-Man 4, No Way Home, everything changed. This wasn't just another Marvel blockbuster, it was a behind-the-scenes nightmare no one could have predicted. Rumors had been swirling for months. Delays, reshoots, a toxic environment on set. And at the center of it all, a love story in collapse. Tom Holland and Zendaya, Hollywood's golden couple, living a lie for the cameras while quietly tearing each other apart behind closed doors. Our sources, 3 separate insiders who worked directly with the production, confirmed the unthinkable. Zendaya nearly walked away from the film and from Tom entirely. She had one foot out the door, one source revealed. What kept her there wasn't love. It was strategy. But let's rewind. Because what happened on the set of Spider-Man 4, No Way Home makes previous Marvel controversies look like playground scuffles. The first crack. It began with the script. Or rather, the lack of it. Multiple writers were brought in, fired, rehired, replaced. The pressure to top No Way Home, a multiverse explosion of fan service and billion-dollar box office, was enormous. Holland, who had previously spoken about taking a break from acting, was forced back into the role due to contractual obligations, our source said. He didn't want to do it, a production assistant confessed. He was mentally drained. But Sony wasn't taking no for an answer. Holland arrived on set thinner, paler, and quieter than ever. One crew member described him as hollow. And Zendaya? She was there, but she wasn't with him, the same crew member shared. There was no laughter between takes, no hand-holding. It was cold. Chillingly cold. Behind the smiles. To the public, they were still the picture-perfect couple. Red carpet appearances, flirty interviews, Instagram photos with carefully worded captions. But according to a hair and makeup artist on set, everything was fake. They'd get into screaming matches in their trailer and then walk out smiling for the press. One argument reportedly became so heated, production halted for the entire afternoon. Zendaya locked herself in her trailer. She was crying. Tom tried to get in, but she yelled at him to leave her alone. Everyone heard it. What was the fight about? Our insider says it was over Tom's lack of support for Zendaya's growing career. She felt like he couldn't handle her success outside of Marvel, the fashion deals, the Emmy buzz, Dune. She felt like she was outgrowing him. And he knew it. The stunt that almost killed him. Things took a darker turn in week 6 of shooting, during an intense rooftop stunt in New York City. Holland, insistent on doing most of his stunts himself, miscalculated a wire-assisted jump. He slammed into a metal rig, fracturing 2 ribs and bruising his spine. Production shut down for 3 weeks. He was in pain, physical, emotional, mental. And you could tell no one really knew how to help him, a set medic revealed. Even Zendaya looked distant. Not cold, but tired. Tabloids were told it was a minor onset injury. But the truth? He was out cold for nearly 30 seconds, said a stunt coordinator who witnessed the fall. We thought we'd lost him. That moment, one crew member said, was when Zendaya made her decision. She started making calls. She met with her team. She wanted out. Damage control mode. With rumors of their breakup creeping into gossip columns, the studio panicked. Marvel and Sony reportedly coordinated with publicists to maintain the illusion that the couple was still together. They knew if the public found out Zendaya had left Tom, the entire promotional campaign would crumble, one executive admitted under condition of anonymity. So they did what Hollywood does best, they faked it. Joint interviews were scheduled with heavily vetted questions. Candid photos were staged. Zendaya's social media activity was carefully controlled. She posted a birthday tribute to Tom that insiders claim was written by a PR rep. But the truth was undeniable. They were done, said a crew member. They were just waiting until the film came out to announce it. Or maybe they'd never say it, just fade into history like every other Hollywood couple. As Tom Holland recovered from his stunt injury, Spider-Man 4 was on the brink of collapse. Zendaya was barely speaking to him. The script was being rewritten weekly, and insiders say Sony and Marvel executives were one more scandal away from pulling the plug. But what happened next is something no one, not even Tom, saw coming. A covert plan was set into motion. A plan so calculated, so insidious, that one insider described it as a corporate version of psychological warfare. The goal? Save the movie, even if it meant sacrificing the people making it. Enter the romance tour. Behind closed doors, studio heads developed what they called Operation Weblove. The idea, manufacture a fake resurgence of Tom and Zendaya's romance, even as the real relationship lay in tatters. Weeks before filming resumed, a team of publicists and social media strategists got to work. New photo ops were arranged, interview questions pre-approved, and a set of pre-written tweets and Instagram captions were prepared, some allegedly ghostwritten by AI to avoid legal liability. Their love story had to look alive, said one executive, or the movie would die. But Zendaya resisted. According to a legal source familiar with her contract, she considered walking from the film, not over money, but over principle. She was livid, the source said. She didn't want to be forced into a lie. She didn't want to pretend for the sake of a film that was emotionally destroying her. So the studio played its trump card. The NDA scandal. Zendaya, like most Marvel actors, had signed strict non-disclosure agreements. But buried deep within the fine print, a clause allowed the studio to take legal action against any public behavior deemed harmful to brand cohesion. In other words, if she walked away from Tom too visibly, they could sue. It was blackmail, plain and simple, said a former Marvel PR assistant who recently left the company. They didn't say they'd sue. They just reminded her that they could. Faced with immense pressure and potential career damage, Zendaya relented. For now. Meanwhile, Tom was slipping further into a mental spiral. Sources close to the actor say he began having episodes on set, forgetting lines, zoning out mid-conversation, disappearing between takes. One alarming report claimed Tom was found crying in full Spider-Man costume on a rooftop set in Atlanta at 3 a.m., alone, long after filming wrapped for the day. He wasn't sleeping. He was barely eating, said one assistant. He was trying to hold it together for everyone, but he was breaking inside. And the worst part? No one helped, because everyone needed him to keep pretending. Benedict Cumberbatch's exit and the leaked footage. Originally, Spider-Man 4: No Way Home was set to feature Doctor Strange in a major supporting role, with Benedict Cumberbatch reprising his part. But Cumberbatch abruptly exited the project mid-shoot, citing creative differences. Our sources tell a different story. Cumberbatch allegedly witnessed a brutal argument between Holland and director John Watts that ended with Holland storming off set and refusing to shoot for 2 days. Benedict saw the chaos, said a lighting tech. He told the producers, "This isn't a movie anymore. It's a breakdown with cameras." Then he left. Shortly after his departure, a leaked behind-the-scenes video appeared online showing Holland collapsing in tears during a reshoot. It was taken down within minutes, but not before fans screen-recorded it and started speculating. Theories ranged from overacting method performance to a nervous breakdown in real time. But insiders confirm it was real. He just broke, a camera operator admitted. And that was before the final betrayal. The ultimate PR move, a fake proposal. Yes, you read that right. According to 2 independent sources, one high-ranking Marvel executive proposed a fake engagement between Tom and Zendaya to promote the film and buy time through the premiere season. The plan: leak a tabloid report that Tom had proposed secretly during a romantic getaway. Then feed select outlets photos of Zendaya wearing a ring, a prop ring, in fact, which had already been ordered by the marketing team. Zendaya refused. Fiercely. That was her line in the sand, said one publicist. She told them, "You can ruin my love life, but you are not going to fake my engagement." From that point on, Zendaya became distant, professional, and cold. "She stopped pretending," said a production assistant. "She hit her marks, did her scenes, and left. She didn't speak to Tom unless the camera was rolling." As the shoot dragged into its final weeks, the set became a war zone of secrets. Crew morale collapsed. The director was replaced for the final 2 weeks. Reshoots ran over time. Millions were spent on deleted scenes. And the 2 stars at the heart of it all? Strangers, barely holding on. By the time filming wrapped on Spider-Man 4: No Way Home, the mood wasn't triumphant, it was tragic. Crew members whispered about the most cursed Marvel production ever, and even seasoned insiders admitted they'd never seen a shoot so poisoned by secrecy, emotional collapse, and corporate manipulation. But the worst, and most brilliant, move came next. A fabricated love story pushed onto the world with a precision that only billion-dollar studios could afford. The premiere packed. Internally, the film had a nickname: Project Illusion. According to 2 executives who reviewed early marketing drafts, every red carpet appearance, every talk show segment, Every shared smile between Tom and Zendaya was scripted. They signed what we called the Premiere Pact, one source said. A silent agreement. Show up, act in love, smile for the cameras. Get through the press tour, then you're free. The studio's logic was brutal. Spider-Man was bigger than any actor, and definitely bigger than a messy breakup. If fans believed Tom and Zendaya were still together, the illusion would drive ticket sales, trends, memes, and shipping culture. If the truth leaked, millions could be lost. But faking love turned out to be harder than expected, especially for Tom. Tom's emotional collapse on Jimmy Kimmel. In one particularly painful moment during the press tour, Tom appeared on Jimmy Kimmel Live, alongside Zendaya and Jacob Batalon. At first, everything seemed routine. But when Kimmel jokingly asked about wedding bells in the future, Tom froze. The clip went viral. Fans thought he was just being shy, but insiders say what really happened was far darker. He was caught off guard because they'd promised not to go there, said a member of Marvel's publicity team. He broke script, and that terrified everyone. According to sources close to the show, Tom had a panic attack backstage after the segment ended. Zendaya stayed behind to console him, but producers ordered her back to the car immediately after. She was done playing the girlfriend. The illusion was cracking. Fake Instagram lives and AI filters. In the weeks before the premiere, fans were treated to several adorable Instagram lives of Tom and Zendaya cooking, cuddling, and even dancing to old R&B songs. The internet went wild, but very few realized something odd. The footage was highly edited. Our investigation found that multiple clips used AI smoothing filters, re-recorded audio tracks, and even CGI enhancements to make the pair look warmer, closer, and more in love than they really were. One editor, who asked to remain anonymous, confessed, "I digitally erased the distance between them in 3 of those clips. In one, they were on opposite sides of the kitchen. The final cut makes it look like Zendaya is kissing his shoulder. That never happened." Studio documents leaked to the Wrap confirm that several of the lives were pre-recorded, staged, and manipulated. One was filmed with body doubles from behind, just in case Tom and Zendaya refused to film together on the same day. The alternate ending that got buried. While fans eagerly awaited the release of Spider-Man 4, No Way Home, a bombshell revelation rocked the editorial floor. Tom Holland and Zendaya had originally filmed an alternate ending to the film, one that would have redefined the entire Spider-Man saga. According to 2 editors, the alternate ending showed Peter Parker sacrificing himself completely to save the multiverse, an emotional climax that mirrored Holland's real-life fragility and hinted at a permanent exit from the franchise. "It was raw," said one editor. "You could see he was crying real tears. It wasn't acting. It was Tom saying goodbye." Zendaya's MJ was shown mourning Peter in a silent montage, a sequence so powerful, insiders claim studio executives cried watching it. But the ending was pulled. Why? Marketing. "The death of Peter Parker tested poorly," said a studio analyst. "Teens want Spider-Man alive. They want romance, not grief. They want fantasy, not pain." So the raw, tragic version of the film, the one that bared the emotional truth of Holland's performance and mirrored the actor's real-life agony, was replaced with a crowd-pleasing, upbeat ending. The version fans saw in theaters. "It's not Spider-Man 4, said one production designer. "It's a cover-up with CGI. The premiere night lie." On premiere night in Los Angeles, the red carpet glowed with flashbulbs. Zendaya wore a custom Valentino dress. Tom donned a tailored Tom Ford suit. The couple smiled, waved, laughed. Every outlet reported they were stronger than ever. But we can now confirm, they arrived in separate vehicles. Left in separate vehicles. Spoke only when prompted by press. And backstage, they didn't exchange a single word. It was like watching ghosts, a camera operator whispered. Backstage footage seen by one crew member showed Tom staring blankly into a mirror for 10 minutes. Zendaya, meanwhile, paced the green room in silence, checking her phone every few seconds. She looked like she was counting the minutes until it was over. And just like that, the illusion held. The film opened to record-breaking numbers. Social media exploded with Spider-Man content. Fan accounts gushed about relationship goals. The box office soared past $1.2 billion within weeks. But no one asked how Tom and Zendaya were really doing, because no one wanted the truth. The glitz of the red carpet faded. The press tour was over. Spider-Man 4, No Way Home had shattered records, raked in billions, and dominated the global conversation. But just as the world celebrated, Tom Holland vanished. No warning. No posts. No sightings. For nearly 2 months, Tom disappeared from the public eye entirely, not a single photo, interview, or tabloid scoop. And for a man whose face had been everywhere, this sudden silence was deafening. The vanishing act. Fans began to notice in early February, when Tom missed a charity gala he had publicly committed to. His name was removed last minute from the guest list, with his team citing personal obligations. But those who knew him claimed something else. He was gone, said a crew member from the London branch of the film's reshoots. Phone off. Ghosted friends. Not even his agent could get through. Even Zendaya reportedly had no contact with him. According to 2 industry insiders, Marvel launched a quiet internal search, worried their most bankable star had suffered a breakdown. Studio execs allegedly contacted family members and even hired a private wellness consultant in Switzerland, known for helping high-profile celebrities under NDA retreats, to locate him. What they found shocked them. Tom had checked into a private therapeutic facility in Iceland, under a false name, where he was undergoing intensive trauma treatment. It wasn't about drugs or alcohol, one anonymous clinic source said. It was emotional exhaustion. He was burned down to nothing. No one was told. No press release. No explanation. Because the illusion had to hold. The anonymous podcast that blew everything open. The world didn't hear a word until an anonymous guest appeared on a niche film industry podcast in late March. The podcast, Behind the Curtain, usually covered indie film news. But this episode changed everything. The guest identified himself only as E, but hinted at being a Marvel insider. With a digitally altered voice, he dropped bombshell after bombshell over the course of a 75-minute interview. Among his claims, Tom and Zendaya officially broke up 8 months before filming began. Marvel marketing planned to suppress the breakup using AI-driven romantic content. The now viral rooftop crying video was not a leaked accident. It was part of a failed documentary pitch Marvel almost greenlit, titled The Real Spider-Man. Zendaya almost quit the film entirely after a confrontation in the editing bay, where she accused producers of using her heartbreak for profit. Marvel had already begun secret discussions to reboot the Spider-Man franchise with a new actor, not because of Tom's performance, but because of his mental health instability. The episode gained just 4,000 listens in the first week. But by day 10, it had gone viral. Reddit threads exploded. TikTok conspiracy accounts began dissecting the audio, comparing the voice to real Marvel staffers. A few diehard fans even used AI voice matching tools to speculate on E's real identity. One theory pointed to a fired VFX supervisor, another to a personal assistant who vanished from Marvel's org chart mid-production. Marvel issued no comment. But behind the scenes? Panic. Zendaya's silent strike. As the podcast took off, Zendaya began quietly cutting ties. She stopped liking Spider-Man-related posts. She unfollowed one of the film's executive producers. Her stylists were instructed not to schedule any press appearances involving Marvel. And then came the infamous Variety cover shoot. Scheduled as a post-Spider-Man victory lap, the photo shoot was supposed to include Tom and Zendaya side by side. Instead, Zendaya canceled the joint session and demanded a solo spread. Her team, insiders claim, told Variety's editors that the narrative is over. The magazine compromised. Zendaya appeared alone, glowing, powerful, distant, and the interview made zero mention of Tom. That same week, she posted a black and white Instagram story, a single word. Enough. It was deleted within 3 minutes. Marvel's quiet reboot plans. By April, the situation inside Marvel Studios had grown so tense that even Kevin Feige was reportedly involved in hush-hush discussions about resetting the Spider-Verse. A senior Disney executive allegedly floated the idea of spinning off Zendaya's MJ into her own multiverse project, without Tom, while recasting Spider-Man with a younger actor for future MCU phases. Why? Because Tom, according to leaked emails, was deemed a brand risk. One producer described him as emotionally unpredictable and potentially uninsurable. Another reportedly said, "We can't bet $250 million on a man one panic attack away from disappearing again." In April, an insider revealed that Marvel had quietly contacted 3 agencies to shortlist potential replacements, including 2 rising actors from recent Disney Plus hits. Contracts were not signed. But the message was clear: they were preparing to move on. Tom, meanwhile, was still in Iceland. Healing. Quiet. Absent. Zendaya's off-the-record confession. Perhaps the most shocking twist came during a GQ interview, one never published in full. A journalist who conducted the interview leaked a portion of the off-the-record exchange via Substack. According to the Post, Zendaya said the following when asked if she and Tom were still together. "We're not. We haven't been for a long time. But we cared about each other enough to protect what we had from the noise. Until the noise became everything." The post was taken down within 24 hours. But not before it was archived and screenshotted across the internet. The final illusion was broken. When the world learned the truth, or at least fragments of it, the illusion collapsed. By May 2025, Spider-Man 4: No Way Home had grossed $1.8 billion worldwide. It was declared one of Marvel's greatest financial successes. Yet inside the studio walls, the atmosphere was funereal. The price of that success had been paid in silence, sacrifice, and a brutal manipulation of reality. Now, the last secrets begin to surface, and they're more chilling than anything the press ever imagined. The lost ending locked in Vault 7. Sources within Disney have confirmed the existence of an alternate version of Spider-Man 4, the one insiders call the lost ending. Unlike the upbeat theatrical version that fans saw, where Peter Parker defeats the multiverse threat and returns to MJ for a bittersweet reunion, this original cut was a complete emotional breakdown. Here's what happened in that version. Peter, overwhelmed by grief and guilt, chooses to erase himself permanently from the multiverse. Not just memories, but existence itself. A voiceover monologue by Tom, recorded during what insiders now say was his lowest emotional moment, played over his vanishing silhouette. Zendaya's MJ wakes up in a universe where Peter never existed. She walks the streets, haunted by flickers of forgotten feelings. In the final shot, she stares at a mirror and whispers, "I don't remember his name, but I miss him." The screen cuts to black. No music. Just silence. Executives allegedly locked the reel in Vault 7, a high-security archive beneath the Disney lot. Only 5 people have viewed the full cut since. One of them, a former editor who later left the company, posted anonymously on an industry forum. That version wasn't a superhero film. It was a eulogy. For Tom. For Zendaya. For everything they were pretending to still be. The non-disclosure machine. To preserve the Spider-Man brand, Marvel initiated what insiders call the non-disclosure machine, a sweeping legal protocol designed to silence leaks. More than 60 NDAs were issued in the 6 months following the film's completion. Actors, editors, publicists, even security guards. Each contract reportedly carried 7-figure penalties. One production assistant who attempted to speak with a film journalist claimed she was followed for several days and received a legal cease and desist within 48 hours. This wasn't about protecting spoilers, she wrote on an encrypted forum. It was about protecting lies. An ex-Marvel lawyer, now turned whistleblower, has revealed internal memos that explicitly stated, "Our IP cannot be endangered by romantic fallout or emotional instability. Control the narrative. Own the illusion." Zendaya's departure confirmed. On April 30th, 2025, Zendaya's manager quietly informed Marvel that she would not be returning for any future Spider-Man appearances. No press release. No public drama. Just a single line in a buried contract termination notice. Client withdraws from active Spider-Man property obligations effective immediately. Disney insiders say there were emergency meetings. But Zendaya stood firm. She didn't want to be part of the machine anymore, one close associate explained. The heartbreak wasn't just personal. It was industrial. She was used. Zendaya's only public comment since has been an Instagram post of her dog walking in the Hollywood Hills, captioned, "Freedom smells like wildflowers." The comment section was turned off. Tom Holland's new beginning or permanent exit. Tom finally reappeared in late May 2025, spotted at a coffee shop in Notting Hill. Thinner, quieter, but smiling. A fan who recognized him said Tom politely declined a selfie and simply said, "I'm just trying to feel real again." So, what's next? Marvel has officially suspended future Spider-Man scripts involving Tom Holland. Several reboot projects are in early development, including one radical multiverse angle where Miles Morales becomes the central Spider-Man of Earth 616. Tom has not spoken publicly since his return, but people close to him suggest he may never play Spider-Man again. "He gave everything," said a friend. "His body, his voice, his relationships, his sanity. He can't go back." Rumors have swirled that he's writing a memoir. Others claim he's been quietly producing a documentary, not about Spider-Man, but about fame, manipulation, and mental health in the Marvel machine. Disney, of course, would fight that tooth and nail. But the most poetic rumor? One source claims Tom has been taking acting classes again, not in Los Angeles, but at a tiny theater school in rural Wales. He wants to remember what it felt like to be an actor, they said. Before he became a brand, the curtain falls. Spider-Man 4: No Way Home will go down as one of the most successful superhero films in history. But beneath the box office records and fan service lies a deeper truth, a story of two young stars, forced to perform a love that had already died in a film that nearly destroyed them. Marvel gave us spectacle, but it came at the cost of silence, sanity, and sincerity. And somewhere, in a locked vault, the real ending still waits, not for audiences, but as a monument to what was lost behind the mask.